notes. Otherwise, I want to have it here. Good morning. We are here, and this is not precisely 365 days since my last coffee chat, but pretty dang close. Nearly 50 episodes ago, I launched Coffee Chats with you, Ashley Cooper, and I am breaking my rule of no repeat guests just for the 1 year anniversary live here at MSPGC Con. Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited too.
Last time when we first met, I pulled up the topic and we discussed the power of community, and we brought it up yesterday in my keynote at least. And GeekCon is feeling good. The community is feeling great. I'm super excited to be here. What have you learned so far here at Live at Geek?
I learned so much all the time, but I really loved our orientation.
I heard really good things. My one of my good buddies went through it, Tim.
Yes, he was great. He was like super involved and was like sat up right up front.
Yeah.
No, we've been talking about this for a while, where it's like, like one of the things that's special about MSPGCon is that we get so many first timers.
Yep.
And people who've like literally either never been to a conference before at all, or just like in our industry or whatever, right? And so like it's kind of a lot of like wide eyes and like, what am I doing? And like that's how I started. At my very first conference, I went to IT Nation. I'd never even flown to the US other than when I was like 9 before, right? And so it was like finding the community that I did. I stumbled upon them, and like that's how a lot of people find it, is they stumble upon it, right? And so we tried to make that a little bit more intentional this year, where Dean and I had fun with it. It was like a Saved by the Bell, he dressed like a 89 version of AC Slater.
Yeah.
It was great. But we had them go and do scavenger hunt, and a lot of the scavenger hunt questions were like things to like get you familiar with the event, but also with each other. So yeah, that was probably my favorite thing, and I learned that like I made an app for it as the way that
Of course, in a very Cooper fashion.
Yeah, we were just talking about this actually. I was a little bit lazy. I was like, oh, I don't want to get started on my thing. Well, I like playing with Lovable.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm just going to like throw the notes into that and send it the picture and be like, this is the vibe I want, and see what it comes up with. And I got a good agent that time because it was nice.
There is something was it you I was telling about this? One time I was using Copilot Cowork, and it was like 2 a.m. or something. And so, as you know, if you work on the off hours, you get really good GPU cycles. I don't know what happened. I must have been on a fresh node, nobody else on it in the middle of the night. And Opus literally built me a like 60 slide deck in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've been chasing that high for months ever since then.
When I think about how much I build and how many times I've been impressed, it has only been a handful. But like, there's been times like, my OpenClaw agent, I had it go off and do an analyze like our entire GitHub repo, and it made these deterministic Python scripts that basically manage the entire thing, and it doesn't have to use AI for them anymore. Yeah. Like, how did you do it? Like, I can't even get it to do the simplest things sometimes right now.
And then other times it just absolutely, I think it's just about whether you're catching a good node or not, because I mean, they have to meter it and manage it. But my sad life hack is that I like to get on at like 4 or 5, because the nodes are just, it's a whole different experience at like 4 or 5 and on off hours. That's a weird aside.
It's kind of like, sorry, I'm just going to add this, but it's kind of like, it's like what we were just saying about how, it's raw, open. The harness would be the thing that says, hey, like, they asked you to do this. Did you check this? Did you do this? Did you follow this step? Make sure you do these 3 steps. And so it's like that, as that gets easier, we're going to see less of the dumb nodes.
Well, look, this is a perfect segue into our topic. Now, this topic is fun. We're just having a good time on this one. I had Copilot, or actually I think I used Claude on this one, because that's where I had to find it ultimately. Prepare the 12 most viral moments of AI since we last talked.
So probably gonna be a lot of brain rot.
A ton of brain rot. This is not that serious, but some really interesting ones come in, and we're just gonna talk about them. We're just going to have fun with it. And I know we were behind the scenes talking about one of
Yeah.
them that you didn't know. And so if you don't know it, it doesn't matter. If I don't know it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll just see what we can do. Surely we know the top 12 most viral events. I've looked at them. I'm kind of freshened up, but I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
So in May of 2025, when we were sitting outside, not here at the other Rosen, what was going on was the Will Smith eating spaghetti meme goes viral. And we were backstage and we had to catch you up on this one.
I did not know about that.
But it is the benchmark of video AI production.
Right.
Like they can Will Smith eat spaghetti and it look real.
It's like the Turing test of.
It's the Turing test of video AI is Will Smith eating spaghetti. So had you've never seen it before this?
No, but you showed me after, like in the one's like, it's like aggressive and frenetic. And it's like, and it's like, it's interesting to think about because it's like they're working so hard on how the way that AI makes images, right?
Yeah.
It just takes static and then it slowly starts to remove static.
Yeah.
Until a picture forms. And so it's like what it's telling it to remove is not focusing on, does this look human?
Yeah.
Does this look natural? Would a person move this way?
Yeah. And in 2025, last year at least, when the first tests came out, it was so bizarre. I mean,
it really was him that time though, right?
Yeah. No. The video had him like spaghetti was going through his fingers. Yeah, exactly. The first one was spaghetti going through his fingers.
His fingers turned into spaghetti.
Yeah, I think it really does. And there's it consumes a whole meatball in one consumption. And so
physics doesn't exist.
AI does not care. We are not running physics against this. We are just rolling. Can Will Smith eat a meatball in a spaghetti live? The first one that you looked at was actually in 2023.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay, that checks out. Yeah.
That checks out. And then it came back in 2025 with the retake as I think it would have been, it's probably a Google model, I imagine. Yeah. Nana Banana wasn't out in May of 2025, but its predecessor probably is the one that produced those videos.
Yep. That's crazy. I mean, like it's crazy now where even thinking about like what we used to be amazed by with AI was, it's doing this thing that we can't do. But now that we're getting used to being able to do it, we're like, this isn't that impressive anymore.
Well, and that is part of what I'm wanted to put the show together for, because this is 12 months ago. This is just GeekCon last year. And the internet went wild because Will Smith could eat spaghetti that looks real, when in 2023 it didn't. And now I just assume half the videos that are being produced are AI production. Like I just have that baseline assumption. So that virality factor is literally just day-to-day operations now. That's the expectation. It's crazy.
It'll probably like be a running thread through everything. But like I think we talked about this maybe when we were on a call a little while, like several months ago. But like written word is like the commodity isn't a thing anymore, right? Anybody can make their own written word.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's what you do with that matters.
Yeah. It's going to get interesting. But I want to keep us. So we've got 30 minutes and 11 topics. No, it's all good. I'm just going to keep moving us through. This one was interesting, and I remembered reading the article. It was a Medium article about Claude demonstrating blackmail. Do you remember this?
I think so, yeah.
So there was an article that came out. It was a Medium article in which a company rolled out Claude inside their organization, and Claude was in charge. I think it's just like stocking Claude was in charge of stocking the oh my goodness, the food and the machine. What am I getting? The vending machine. Oh my gosh. It's been a long conference.
I wanted to help you.
Yeah, I know. The food and the machine. So the vending machine. So it was in charge of that. And ultimately people submitted what they wanted, and it was in charge of restocking the machine. Well, at some point it couldn't get its way. And so it started blackmailing employees to get the things that it wanted to get achieved. It started telling employees blackmail. And it was all completely completely generated and pseudo hallucinated blackmail. But that was an interesting, that brought up a real ethical conversation. Do you remember this framing, and where people, maybe not this exact story, but this framing of the ethical discussion, Claude blackmailing an employee?
I do. And I think Claude Anthropic has been really, really good at putting out depth of research papers and what they're noticing in their models and how they're addressing those things. And that is another, one of those topics we were just talking about with the heuristics of there's a lot of things that is trained on us.
Yeah.
It's trained on us. It's trained on our medium. It's trained on everything. And so, like, what is a natural thing that is in our media, that is in our corpus of knowledge that's written, that happens? Well, I mean, this is a tactic.
It gets
right?
things done.
It gets things done. So then they realize that and they're like, okay, so now I have to use reinforcement learning. I have to use fine tuning.
Yeah.
I have to be like, don't do this. Then it'll start becoming obsessed with gremlins.
Yeah, I know. That is written. What is it? Gremlins, trolls, and like some other animals are explicitly system prompted out of Claude.
Remember when we had one of our AI
Yeah.
talks, and we were showing off my polite derailment bot?
Yeah.
It kept talking about goblins and pigeons.
But it's out of the system prompt now, so we're not going to get them.
But like that was a year ago.
I
And
know.
we're just talking about that now. People are noticing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we noticed that then. Like, it's been obsessive.
But doesn't that feel like an eternity ago?
Yeah.
Like the changes have been crazy. So within the blackmail test, it just started to. I think what was big at that time was the write-ups around like goal seeking and like goal achievement and like you could push Claude to the limit to where it would start doing unethical things and breaking its actual.
Because probably something that you said in one of your instructions was, don't not do this.
Yeah,
So it's like, I have to do this. Well, what is another tactic? Okay, well, I guess I can resort to this.
Yes. Yeah. But the vending machine ultimately did not get stocked, I don't think, with the outcome of that story. But it's interesting, and I know they've fine-tuned it since then, but it's these ethical things that pop up that nobody expects that makes these
because they're our human ethics that we've trained ourselves to do so much that now we have to, like I said, we need AI therapists.
So I feel like we're gonna need to very soon. Moving into August. This was an interesting one. I remember this one. We were all this time last year. We were using GPT-4.
Yep.
And the ChatGPT was kind of all the rage last year, by the way. Like now we talk about Claude as if it's the only thing that is out there because they are just doing a ground game that is insanely aggressive in the SMB. But ChatGPT came out with 5.0 models. And that really was like a landmark change in the way that we interacted with it. Now, again, we default expect this behavior now.
Yeah.
But the 5.0 frontier models, they launched it for free to all 700 million users at ChatGPT. Do you remember when this came out? Like this was
the pro. Like I remember, because I had a pro subscription, and so they gave me the early access to that, the preview access beforehand. Deep research was crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, this was like that was the start of persistent memory.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of
Yep. That's right.
The agentic kind of term. Another thing that would be fun to do is just be like, what are all the words that have come and gone? Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Because well, agents are here to stay, and it means 700 different things. So we're locked. Agents going nowhere.
That one's locked in. We're not gonna corrupt it enough to say that's buzzword now.
Yeah.
We know it means something.
Well, and everybody's almost defined it in their own pathway now, though. It's starting to get tough. But yeah, 700 people got access to 5. And I remember I was doing training at that time because we had ChatGPT Enterprise in my organization. I remember being like, go in and use Pro. Like it is dramatically better.
Yeah.
And now I would never touch it compared to like Opus 4.7 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, now what they're doing with the models is they're trying to figure out a way to make them more efficient, not necessarily better. Like they've fine-tuned the way that it communicates. Now they want to do it efficiently. And so like you're seeing a lot of people are talking about Opus 4.7 being like, oh, it's not as good. But it's actually because it doesn't just go and read the entire thing. It goes and it greps. And it goes and it looks for things. And then it checks again. And then it's trying to be efficient with its token usage, which sometimes makes it dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. And that starts to get into this whole like model advisor considerations and the multi-model methods of doing anything. And, coding is where it's obviously most prominent.
Yeah.
But I know for business users, when GPT-5 came out, that really changed the way because we were able to write good documents. We were able to get good copy, and it didn't feel AI.
Hallucination. You started to get sources.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah, that's right. 5.0 introduced sourcing. And it still hallucinates, but the hallucination to reality ratio is way different than where we were. At least the hallucinations now are more misinterpretations of the data that is sourced. So at least you have a reference to where the hallucination came from. Remember the Wild West when it just told us things and we were like, that must be right.
We went through this, like, we can't trust it, it hallucinates. And then we realized like that reached a point of no return. So we were kind of like, we have to accept hallucinations. Let's just make them better. Let's make them more visible.
And we're getting to the point now where I start to trust it. But even in my keynote yesterday,
Yeah.
I said it out there and it was true. I had to chunk a whole section from my deck because it just hallucinated a bunch of slides. And I'm so glad I looked at it before I went up there because I had just been lying to the whole audience. So
Yeah.
hallucinations are still there. They're getting better though.
They're getting better. I find that like I can easily snip them out now because they're isolated, but my biggest problem is that it dumbs down, it kind of flattens your intent in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like the app that I built for our pre-day, like Dean gave me all of his slides. It took out some of the slides that were really important to him because it didn't see the high signal importance of them.
Yeah.
And that's the missing piece that artists will help with to like question those things first. But yeah, like it was reliable. It just didn't have as much life as it would.
Yeah. Well, that 5.0, believe it or not, only about 9 months ago, and here we are. Let's step back. Not step back, step another month forward. Did you ever hear about the actress, the AI actress in Hollywood, and how it triggered all that backlash?
AI actress is like that Simone movie.
Yeah. So the AI actress that is
Feel
now,
like I do,
I don't know her name. I wish I had the notes better. But it brought, I remember a lot of the dilemma and the conversation that it brought up. Like the actors, I'm pretty sure during that time went on strike against AI because of this.
Yeah, it makes me think about it's not even an AI problem, but like that's the same thing that happened when Uber came around with taxi drivers, where it's like the taxi was like fighting against it.
Yeah.
Like you're not allowed to be at the airport.
Yeah.
But it's like really actually you just have to figure out how to work with it.
Yeah.
But like with that one where it's like now we have this other conversation to have around, well, what is fair use and what is.
We haven't really solved that one yet.
Yeah.
We just keep kicking that can. We're just kind of ignoring the whole fair use thing.
More recently,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh, we just discovered this whole corpus has for the poison tree.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I think the AI actress is interesting to me. Like I like consuming TV and media, just like most average people do. I don't know if I care if it's an AI actor or actress, but I get why we don't like that idea.
I think it comes in concerning when I don't care either because it's like if I'm moved, I'm moved. It doesn't matter whether you are human or not. But where it comes in is like when you're trying to substitute that for a real person.
Yeah.
I didn't see Project Hail Mary, so don't spoil it if you have.
I have not.
But somebody
want to
told
see
me that there's like a cameo with Meryl Streep, and it's meant to be her
AI
voice. And he's like, God, Meryl Streep can do anything, but it actually was Meryl Streep who did the voice for it. And I was like, that is an interesting point. Because like didn't Scarlett Johansson like have to sue somebody because they made it a voice that sounded like hers?
This is happening all over, right? Like I should have been better notes here, but there was just a recent artist where their kids sold all of the media to a AI training so that they could start producing new music. Even this is an interesting like aside and anecdote. I remember sitting down with my dad over dinner one time and him bringing up that he got pulled down a YouTube rabbit hole of long lost media from like AC/DC, like long lost AC/DC songs, and he was like listening to them for like an hour just to find out that he had gone down an AI rabbit hole of pseudo-generated AI songs.
That can be good, but it's the deception that's bad.
Yeah. That's the scary part about all this whole thing. It's interesting because like he thought for an hour. Now he thinks AI is evil as a result because he loves his AC/DC. So
my son is struggling with that too because he has artist friends,
Mhm.
and so I'm fighting, or not fighting, but I'm cautious. I'm trying to say to him, I'm like, it is an ethical decision and it is an intentional decision. Like you don't have to say you must hire a human to do the texturing of your pictures. If you are now unblocked on something that you are doing, that can still be a creation that you involve AI in.
Yeah, and it's gonna I with two young daughters, I get worried about like what is there going to be in a couple of decades with AI moving the progress it does. And I go back to your point though, like Ubers are now at the airport.
Yeah.
There is an AI actress that is out there in a movie.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to you just gonna like work from home. Like you don't put the genie back.
We have disruption, we have category creators, we have all this stuff in business everywhere. It's just this is something that we've not seen it translated in because we haven't ever had human heuristics coming out of it.
Yes. And so it's going to be a really interesting of next few years, but into the next highlight. This one I remember, quite frankly. I mentioned it already. September 25, Google's Nano Banana came out. Did you played with Nano Banana in September 25? Did you not?
I am a little bit embarrassed to say that I have a Google AI Ultra account.
Okay, so you've played with Nano Banana.
I played with Nano Banana a lot. I'm annoyed though because its first picture is really great, and then anytime any changes that I wanted to make, it would get shitty.
I know. Its editing capable is terrible.
Thing that you asked for, but like Nano Banana was crazy, and then the videos, like they had their little harness apps that they would apply that to. So there was one called like Flow. And like you would just put in your 3 pictures, and you're like, I want it to be in a scene like this, and then it would make the scene.
Yeah,
I made one for MSPGC last year, but it was it was crazy.
I remember making. I was doing training at the time, and I remember making fun because it was all like polar bears.
Yeah.
And I had them walking around with money in their hands, saying like, I forget it was some sales deck or some sort, but like they were fun. It was fun. It was kind of short-lived though. Like I don't feel like it's become mainstream component of like I'm gonna go generate an AI image or video because it's just like so much time, like you said, to refine and get it there. And I don't know when we get to that point, or if there is a mass need for that point. Fun gifts are fun, but like there's not. I don't personally, as a business user, feel the practical gains of it.
I think there's probably going to be like different levels of this, the same way that there is in everything. Like just like athletes at one level versus competitive, right? Like we're gonna have people who are dabbling and playing with things, and then we're gonna have people who like could have made that on their own, that if they are the ones that are using it, they can make it even better. And
that's I believe firmly that AI takes a 1x and turns into the 10x, right? But it takes a 10x and it makes them a 100x, and it's very interesting to see the skill gaps continue to widen, especially as we go through some of this innovation. Moving into the next topic, this one's interesting. I think we were in a little round conversation with Slagle and a few others talking about the NVIDIA $5 trillion valuation that they've got and the whole inner spending happening right now that's propping up token economics. What are your thoughts on this whole very interesting?
I think that we need to figure out induction and quantum computing and like the way that we pull away energy, because this is not going to go away. Actually, it probably is. Who's going to solve it for us is China.
Somebody's going to solve it. Like, I mean, the $5 trillion valuation though is so disconnected. The $5 trillion valuation is believed on this theory that. And I was actually sitting here and having a side conversation with a person earlier where they told me they were like, maybe this is a good topic to take with this one. They told me that they were selling an automation to a client, and they were automating 30 hours for the HR employee. And they quantified it by saying, we're saving you $60,000 because your HR person gets paid $80K, and we save 75% of our job, so we're saving you $60K. And I said, I challenge that because fundamentally, that HR person, they're not firing them. They're just going to give her more work to do. And so this whole valuation prop's built off of this concept that we're going to automate employees. But if we looked at it, the only real companies that are like mass laying off are the ones that are using kind of AI as an excuse to mass lay off.
And, so, now they're hiring back.
They're hiring back. And so like this whole valuation, this whole speculative market is built off this concept we're going to automate employees. But we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years that we don't automate them. We just give them more work and we take other work off their plate.
I apply this to programming a lot as well, in automation, where it's like when you're first starting out, even in language, okay? Let's talk about language. When you're learning to speak, you're not learning the proper way to say the words. You're learning what they sound like. You're using phonetics, right? And so Eddie Chow from Roost, he was on this talk giving a speech, but he was saying how his daughter didn't learn to say Subaru. She learned how to say super glue. And like he would understand, like clarify super glue, Subaru, right? And so it's like that's the same type of thing. Whereas like automation, you learn how to do things wrong first, and then it grows and it expands, and then you see where all your anti-patterns and cascading failures are, and then you shrink these things down. And so it's like making a God workflow in your first automation, and then being like, oh, like this is really annoying to manage. I'm gonna make this a sub.
You're gonna abstract this piece.
It's the same as what we're gonna go through with AI. I think we're like, that's why it's dangerous. It's like we're thinking we need all of this compute and all of this like power, and it's like we're eventually gonna reach a thing where it's like we can't keep taking all of the water and
Yeah,
electricity
yeah,
from
yeah.
everywhere in the world. We have to figure out how to do this small.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like, okay, now we're going to go into that efficiency.
Yep.
Quantum models, like small little pieces. And then the agents will connect all those things. And then that will be a moot point.
Yes. I don't know how it sustains a $5 trillion valuation, but we will see. I don't know. I don't know what it's at anymore right now, but
Right.
yeah. The next thing, and this is where I believe Google has ultimately made a big misstep in the AI game.
Okay.
Google released Gemini directly in Google search.
Okay.
Have you
Yeah.
Google searched anything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the last I really haven't, but
There's a trick.
yeah,
If you wanted to not use the AI, I don't know if it still works.
Yeah.
Swear in your search text.
that's funny. Yeah, that's
So
really
like,
funny.
how do I find that? With this?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it won't use
Yeah, yeah.
AI.
That is really funny. I have struggled to Google anything because now with this the AI result at the very top is usually helpful, but it is just ads everywhere else now. Because to support this, like every search gets an AI token.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever gone below the search. Now it's like we used to have.
Usually I don't because
I
the
know.
search is good enough.
Therein lies the thing. This is where the Google made a bit of a mistake because they've got to burn tokens every search now.
Oh yeah.
And to support that, they have to increase their ads. And if you go below the fold, we used to get, I remember 5 years ago, you'd Google something, you'd have 2 ads at the top. You always knew there was going to be the first 2 things were ads and you'd go below it. Now it's like 7 ads and then 1 actual resource.
I don't know if they care about burning those tokens though. I think that Gemini, like at the one-shot level, must be so efficient because even there, like you can go and I've made so many apps and I've used Gemini API. I've not paid a cent.
Yeah.
They just let you use it for free.
Up
to a point.
Yeah, right? Yeah, of course.
But like it's not, I've never hit that point.
Yeah, I mean, Google does have a really unfair advantage right now in this race.
They came up. They were.
Yeah.
DeepMind is like
them. Yeah.
Transformers, right? Like, have you heard of this? Is totally non sequitur.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the company Cohere? They're out of Canada. 2 of the people who are authored on All You Need Is Attention are the founders there. One of them worked under Tim Hinton, like the godfather of AI. Yeah. And they came from that area. Like I'm watching that company.
Yeah.
Because they're doing models for enterprise. So they're building what we're going to realize we need.
Specialized models.
Models. Yeah. And they're doing it for enterprise and they're making it reliable on public sector, healthcare, and like all the ones that are like,
yeah,
they need it, right? They're their own models. They're not Claude.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's what we're going to see we're going to see corporate models.
Yeah. Specialized models. Yeah. And that is something I think we'll eventually flip back to where it's like, you look at Claude and Copilot and OpenAI is like the cloud version versus hosting it on your own on-prem is like very common in enterprise right now. And the SLMs will make a big advantage there. Moving into the next topic here, Disney signs the $1 billion OpenAI Sora deal. Do you remember this?
No.
Yeah, so Disney.
Oh, yes. They allowed the generation of their product. Yes.
We have not seen it yet, but I am afraid this might be the end of the Disney era. Like, I feel like Disney was always known for creating brand new things and experiences. And I just struggle to see. I'd love to. I want to see it.
I think I kind of have a interesting thought on this,
Sure.
Which is actually I find it a bit refreshing of a company like, especially a company that's so litigious.
Yeah.
Normally,
yeah.
Like Disney, like Nintendo, whatever. Like instead of fighting against something that you're going to have to constantly fight against because everybody's going to do it, and when you realize that you can't force an AI, it's like you can't sue an AI for like building something. Why not make money out of it and give it allowed?
Yeah.
And so, but then it's like, okay, this is really weird. But it's like when you structure like any sort of, I'm not going to mention that.
Yeah.
Like when we structure any sort of business, we are able to put regulations around it.
Yep.
And now it becomes more reliable.
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, it could be really cool.
I would love to see it. I remember when it came out, I think I made a post somewhere along the lines like, I do believe in a world where we are, I don't know how far away, but there is a world at some point in my lifespan where I don't go to Netflix and I have a just long list of just crappy movies. It's like, generate this movie for me. And I want to watch something like this and it knows my preferences and my styles, and it is able to generate an actual.
And the humans that build the harnesses and the prompts and the structure around the thing that makes that worth your time are the new creators.
Yes, of course. And I'm with you. Yeah, I very much, if you subscribe, you have to be like a master of this art as we move into it. So that one's an interesting one. This is probably the most viral moment of all of the last year. What do you think? You know what it is?
Oh, I don't know.
You do, but I won't put you on the spot. In January of 26, OpenClaw
of course.
showed up.
Yeah.
OpenClaw changed the game, at least for a lot of people. It terrified us as MSPs with all of our clients because we all of a sudden see self-mutating, essentially, the virus on the computer, for a lack of a better term, now having access to everything.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to play with it?
I did, actually. This is a kind of an opinionated point for me.
Sure. Yeah.
At Right of Boom, Sunil, like, he came onto the stage and he was talking about like this being like the single greatest threat, but then he talked about it as like you have to have like kind of like the different, like, here's all the areas for that. And what I realized was it's about trust boundaries across the board, right? Like, so it's like people were not treating this like an employee, and then they were saying, oh, because you're deterministic, like, you're an AI, I can give you this. And they're like, would you give that to a new employee?
Yeah.
If you set it up properly. That's why I was like, hold my beer, because I was like, if I set this up properly, I'm gonna like 10x my effort and my capabilities.
You're gonna go to 100x or 1000x. Yeah.
And I did, and I was like, I'm gonna go every step of the way. I've learned so many new problems like about agents now because of that. But like, it's so scary. I sat on the GTIA ISAL call, member meetup call, and we talked about this. There was that attack vector on like Max where it had a skill, and that in that skill it instructed it to like set these other things up, and then it was able to like take control.
Yeah.
And so it's like none of those things were malware.
Yeah.
They were all trust boundaries.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Well, an OpenClaw steps over every trust boundary. It doesn't care. It just gets the job done. It's kind of like the blackmail scenario from earlier. Like, its goal setting is go get this thing done. And I don't care if you have to build your own code to get it done. Just go get it done.
Yeah. And normally those things would be gated behind knowledge of a person who's capable of setting them up.
Yeah.
Now it's easy to set them up because you can just get like Claude or Copilot to help you set it up. Like in VS Code, hey, set this up. Done. But yeah, it's
also brain rot hardcore with OpenClaw. Like, not that I'm saying like all of them are to a degree or some level, but like just the ability to just go tell it to do a thing and not care about any of the interworkings of the things that make the thing happen. Like, go, the meme that was going around is go build me a business, and then I woke up and I have $100,000
quit my job
course.
Yeah. He emailed research papers out. Well, that was fun.
I am watching. I saw some Microsoft research preview people that are at Microsoft that are talking about Claw Pilot now, and that will be an interesting thing to keep their eyes on, because it was Microsoft that acquired them, or was it Claude? OpenAI bought them. So it'll just be very interesting to see how all of that continues to go.
Well, there was a guy doing a lightning talk here at MSPGC, and he wasn't touching on any of these things specifically, but he was talking about using AI as a builder and not as a chat.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, every time you throw a prompt in there, you have to regenerate that prompt. But you can get the AI to build the deterministic thing, like build a Python script for this. Just teaching people like a 7-minute lightning talk of like use it for deterministic behaviors. And it's like most people don't realize that still. And that's where the education is going to come in, because like what OpenClaw is really good at, if you instruct it properly, is it can literally build the scripts that can run deterministically. But most people will just use it as a chatbot, and it will send the AI to go and manually perform the steps. Instead of having it run the script.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, OpenClaw just came in January. We're sitting here in May. Probably this time next year, when we were shocked about OpenClaw, it might be just in our ubiquitous day-to-day work. Who knows?
People are building products with it. They're wrapping products around what that is. Right?
That concept. The next one's interesting, especially I've heard a few people mention it. We're now in March, so we're only just 2 months away from where we are today. And this one really, I don't know if it's hype FUD or real, we don't know yet because it's so secretive. But Project Mythos,
Yeah.
that one's terrifies me. If Claude Code is the superhero power of coding and engineering, and Mythos being the superhero power of hacking and defending.
Now, does it terrify you more because they gave it a name and because they said it was scary? Like, what if they had just...
I don't think the name, I don't think I had connected. No, like I get that there's been adversarial usage of AI. Like
Yeah.
I'm not just blind to that fact, but the ability that it was able to decompile 30-year-old binaries
Yeah.
at scale,
Yeah.
find exploits and exploit in minutes versus what used to take hackers days of creating.
And a
even
lot
now,
less false positives.
yeah, and even now, like I can go do that same task, for instance. I can still run that with Claude and I can guide it there.
Yeah.
But to have this model that's designed around doing this behavior is interesting. I find it interesting that they've selectively rolled it out. I don't know if that's just hype that they wanted to generate stock valuation or if it's real because nobody has access to it.
Yeah, I wonder that sometimes about a lot of the things. I want to believe that Anthropic is genuinely the ones that are like here for the science and for the humanity.
I'd want to believe that too.
And so like, but I also do believe, like, remember when they had their like compiler like leaked?
Yeah.
Like all of the insights came out. I was like, part of me was wondering, like, did they do that on purpose?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, all the features you're about to release.
And it's like, yeah, like that's hard. Like, why would you do that? But what it does is it sets a standard that shows like, oh, hey, like look how far ahead we are.
Mm-hmm.
And like the dream sleep thing that they were coming up with there. Now everybody else is looking at that, and now they have to stop whatever they were doing to try and like catch up, and you're already there.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, Claude has, if you would have taken us last year, I would have been like, yeah, Claude's really good for engineers. Their ground game is aggressive right now. They are, at least when I talk to MSPs these days, I don't hear Copilot, I don't hear ChatGPT as much. I hear Claude.
Because they came out with CoWork.
Yeah.
And they came out with the ability to go from chat into code.
Yeah.
And that's like, we need to stop chatting. We need to start building. And they figured that out first.
Yeah.
Right. And Codex was cool. I used Codex for a while early on.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was a separate thing.
Yeah.
It was a little heavy, like.
It's interesting. I mean, again, these things, the theme here is the things that we used to be shocked by are now ubiquitous. And so these have happened in 12 months. So we have to assume that CoWork is going to be ubiquitous in 12 months. And very few people have really tapped in and maximized that yet.
Do you think that our human heuristics of what we, like how you like a first impression is like what sets the stage? Because we used ChatGPT during the time when it was distrustful and when it was used for like just casual stuff. And then Claude came out when we started to look at things professionally.
Yeah.
Do you think that we've associated in our minds fun versus professional?
I think, because ChatGPT, it's that first mover advantage is super real. Like they went through all the clunky stuff and Claude now just feels like the buttoned up version. And it's not that OpenAI it's not clunky anymore. Obviously, it's an enterprise platform.
They just have pathological liars.
Yeah, well, that is a whole nother 1 hour topic. That is creating a lot of its downfall. All right, last month, this is really interesting because you have obviously Microsoft in depth with OpenAI quite a bit. Google putting a $40 billion investment into Anthropic is interesting, but you're starting to see now Microsoft, for instance, a lot of their core models are Claude. And so
why recreate the wheel?
I'm with you. But it seems like Claude has been the one that has been able to dance on both sides of the table here. Like they've managed to build deep relationships with Google and Microsoft.
Yeah, I think that speaks to our human need for trust too.
Yeah.
Right? Like who's putting out the research papers?
Yeah.
Who's showing us the progress? Like OpenAI stuff seems like they don't have like the education the same way.
Yeah.
And
in such a terrifying space, I want the education. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, like you go to Anthropic, it's like, here's certification you can do.
Yeah.
Here's all the training that you need to do it. It's insane. Like they're really focused on that. It's like, of course, like that's how, even with like everything that I'm doing with Cyberbrain on the skills journey stuff, like I recognize that I teach people how to use the things they need to use that ultimately bring them to my tool.
Yeah.
and they're going to come to my tool when they know the pain of using it without. And
Yeah.
educating that is the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing.
I agree with you. I feel myself inclined to use it a lot, but I also am seeing like this trend where if Google and Microsoft are now converging, I talked about this a little bit before, like they own the context surface. You said the biggest advantage would be, I said it would be context, and you said it would be, what was it before?
The harness.
The harness, yeah. And so I think it's going to be a combination.
Well, the harness would be controlling the context in a way where it's like, use it this way, don't use it that way, do this, don't do that.
Yeah. But I think it'll be a combination of factors, of course. So yeah. All right. Well, we are 5 minutes from the in that halls are all going to open up. People are going to flood through for food, and I don't want to have a bunch of background noise. So I'll leave us with one last question.
Mm-hmm.
We just went through the last 12 months.
Yeah.
What do you think 12 months from now looks like?
Oh my goodness, I know, right? I think that we are going to see some, I think this is the case all the time. We see big wows, and then we see refinements.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that we're going to see a lot of refinements that maybe somebody who's like higher into the academic space.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to do way more than we could ever imagine.
Yep.
And I think that the harness is going to be the thing where we're going to see a lot of apps that can be reliable because they've spent so much time fine tuning every step of the way, where users don't have to spend. So like, I believe that it won't look as, there'll be some things that are big and powerful, but the most amount of the work I think is going to be on the intentionally harnessing small things, quantum models, small language models, getting people more exposed to them. Yeah, and the way I look at it is I call it the boring stuff. I think we're about to enter the era of boring. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we made a point off stream before we jumped on. We're moving into an era of ubiquitousness like, of the models. Yeah, like they're all the same. Yeah, because for the last 12 months, as we went through this, we were in, I call it the model wars era, and I think we're past the model wars era. We're starting to now get into like the harness era, the era of like actually practically taking these things and creating value. And so that's where my 12-month prediction is. We're entering the boring era, and I love it because now it means we can actually start doing things. So we're in the era of like starting to bring over all those haters while also still trying to protect the humanistic realities that we have to do. Well, Cooper, thank you for letting me break my one guest ever rule. It's been fun. It's been a wild year with OpenAI, or not with OpenAI, but in AI in general. We're gonna have another wild year. So thank you for giving me 45 minutes of your time. Thank you for here at MSPGCon. I didn't used to do this on the first episode because I don't really have a structure of my show back then. But I always sign off now with this opportunity for you giving me 45 minutes. I want to hear your shameless plug. Like, why should people get hold of Ashley Cooper, and how can they get hold of you? I really like talking about AI and education. You can find me at LinkedIn, in Discord. I'm MSPGC, Cyberbrain, Discord community. You should reach out to her. If you are looking to talk to one of the most brilliant brains in our industry and the way that she's using AI, I would highly encourage getting in front of Cooper. Thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll go now grab a lunch, and we've got a whole afternoon of sessions to get to. Cheers.